Up all back at my office, and yep, it all ended the way the prayers being offered for those in behalf of the animals was done. It was the coyotes, the weather, and wind swirling that got me. But I did get to see some really, really, really cool up close bucks, some does. I mean, just a lot of deer. It was really, really a good time. And anytime you're out in that environment, just able to be part of nature. I got to watch the sunrise every day, watch the sunset every day, stomp all over those hills. It was awesome. I've had a really, really good time. Uh, I would say anytime I get an opportunity to focus on one thing, when you basically apply all your senses to one specific thing, it kind of shuts down all the other things going on in your world. And to me, it's very, very relaxing. It's a lot of work, believe me. If you're going out there, you're physically moving, straining, moving heavy weight with you because you got your pack and you're getting all over the place. And then if you do end up harvesting an animal, then there's even more work. But to me, that's the most relaxing kind of thing there is because it's putting all my senses into one thing instead of scattered all over the place like it is in business. So not near as exhausting. Even though it's physically exhausting, it is some of the best mental health I've ever had. That's why I go, because that does that for me. I don't care. I mean, I do. You go out there to be successful, but it's still successful to me because of that. Where are we at in the markets these days? We've got some interesting data that's been released. Of course, the jobs data looks like still, jobs are slowing. See what happens when you report accurately. That's what goes on. That's going to benefit, of course, bonds. Bonds are benefiting significantly as a result of that. We also have inflation not moving as fast as it has been, but we're still seeing it move. It still doesn't change the fact that inflation is still going up. It's not going up as fast, but it's still going up. One of the things that I found very, very interesting is consumer credit. That has spiked. I got to show you this chart. This is pretty interesting chart to look at. So we're seeing people, because of the job situation back in 2021 and 2022, pandemic related stuff, you saw consumer credit jumping up, plus also interest rates were forcing that consumer credit up. Very, very low rates, a lot of people borrowing. Then we saw what happened as far as the consumer credit got again, and now we're seeing massive use of credit cards. Why? Jobs. I'm thinking that's what it is. People's job situations forcing them to have to live off credit. As a result of that, we started increasing people's credit lines. People are using it more often. There's higher balances. There's going to be, as a result of that, delinquencies. And that's going to create another problem that we have yet to see what the outcomes that going to be. But we're coming into a recession, a finally labeled recession. Everybody's saying we're finally going into one. By definition, been in one, but nobody wanted to define it. Not during our current administration. They didn't want to define that because they were the savior of the freaking world. We know different. Anybody who believes that, you're not paying attention or don't have a stake in the game. Anybody have a stake in it, you know where we stand. Now let's take a look at the mortgage-backed securities. This is where my focus is right there. Are we going to hit and bounce off this like we did here? Strong, strong bounce right there. Came and we breached it earlier this week and bounced right off of it, went right back into it. We're touching it. I'll zoom in on this. We're touching it, guys. So is it going to get past this? I do not know. There's enough news in here with respect to jobs and all that that could breach this and push this back up. What's our next really, really heavy ceiling, in my opinion, is the day they announce quantitative easing. This is the pricing of the security the day they announce that. This is the day they announced quantitative easing right here. This is the end of the trade of that day. So this encompasses the full days worth of trade the day they announced it. This is the level of the security the day that they started quantitative easing, the actual funds going in from the federal government right here. So I still have belief that this is a pretty strong ceiling here and it's going to hold for quite a bit. I mean, look at last time we saw it breach this, but it pulled right back below it back in November 2022, again in December, again in January 23, jumped way up in February 23, but went right back down below it. We reached it barely in April 23, and then we stayed very, very well below it. I don't know how that's all going to play out. What if it did play very similarly? Okay, see where this breach was? And then bam, we took this long road down. Now, that's all news driven too. This is all saying that the jobs were just unbelievable and that our new administration has just done amazing things for the American worker. We knew that was a lie because this is where it turned around and actual job data was starting to come out. Now we've got more jobs being created. Of course, now actual job data coming out and revisions. So I can't say exactly how it's going to play. There's a lot of bullshitting going on in the market for political purposes. And when you got political pressures, political bullshit, it does force things to go in irregular ways. we'll just see how strong that ceiling is, if it has any strength at all. Hard to say.